story. Plus, we'll stay in Parliament. And the big story we're watching for you tonight: Parliament is set to consider the report on emolument and ex gratia of MPs, ministers, and other Article 71 office holders. But what is in that report? Stay with us.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Gasim Cement, the Nation Builder, also brought to you by Belacqua Mineral Water. Well, today they called the bluff of the police, refused to honor summons to appear before court, and in the last couple of hours, the leadership of the NDC minority in Parliament, many of whom have been charged for breaching the Public Order Act, have served notice. They will fight back using all legal means. They had marched to the Electoral Commission last month as part of the NDC protest against the outcome of the December general elections, but 20 of them, including the minority leader himself, have now been charged. When the case was called today, none of the MPs showed up. Well, Minority Leader Harun Idrisu has been addressing a news conference a short while ago, justifying the decision not to honor the summons.
I woke up this morning to some bliss of news in the social media. Harun Idrisu and minority MPs to appear before court. Let me state emphatically that the minority leader and members of the NDC in Parliament are an integral part and members of the NDC party, the National Democratic Congress, and we are law-abiding citizens of Ghana. Regrettably, we don't respond and will not respond to social media invitations by the Ghana Police Service. I have not been personally served, as is the requirement of the law, and many of my colleagues. And therefore, I should only be walking to court if there was personal service of that writ of summons. But I should presume, without fear of contradiction, that the Ghana Police Service is allowing itself to be used as a tool of manipulation. I've repeatedly told you that I am not a coward. And I don't intend ever to be cowed by any machination by any person, including the Ghana Police Service. They have some confusion in their mind. They should seek to resolve the confusion, the Ghana Police Service. I've seen names like Dr. Rollins Ezeneta. She didn't take part in the process. The Honorable Adongo of Bolga didn't take part in the process. So somebody somewhere rehearsed enemies that they are targeting for purpose of humiliation and to project us as if we are not law-abiding citizens. They should resolve those confusions in their minds and come back properly in accordance with law. But even what is more remarkable and significant is that the criminals who so declared results and denied us of our mandate in Techima are walking free. What they did is in breach of law. It's in breach of process. Nobody is prosecuting them. Nobody is prosecuting those who shot and killed the 3 persons acknowledged by the EC in Techima. That is criminal killing. Yet, members of Parliament presenting a harmless petition. And when I say the police is confused, you didn't understand. They should go and get some training in terms of the law. What members of Parliament did was to embark on lawful procession, nothing more, not a demonstration. That's why the Constitution in Article 21 uses the words procession and demonstration. In any case, be informed that the NDC officially notified the Ghana Police Service that the party will embark on a number and series of actions. We are part of the NDC. We took part in that action, but we took part in a lawful, harmless procession.
Well, the case itself was indeed called today. The court was ready to hear the matter. My colleague Kweku was in court for us. Kweku, so the case was in fact called. Yeah. What were they in fact charged with?
Right. So if you look at the charge sheet, there were two particular offenses that the 21 minority MPs were charged with. The first one was failing to notify the police of holding a special event contrary to Section 1, 1 and 2 and 9A of the Public Order Act 1994, Act 491, and then unlawful assembly contrary to Section 2021 of the Criminal Offences Act, and then it proceeds to list the MPs that were involved, and then Otukono, the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC.
So today the case was called,
The
but
case was
they
called
were
in
not
court.
there, as we've just heard the arena explaining why they were in there. What happened when the case was called?
Right. So usually the police prosecution will be the one to get up first and try and read the particulars of the case and why they are proceeding to the judge. But when they did so, the police prosecutor obviously signaling his readiness to actually proceed with the case, the judge asked him, where are the minority MPs who have been charged? Or where are their legal representation?
Mm-hmm.
There was no such person in the court, either from the minority side, the MPs who have been charged, or a legal representation. And so the judge sought to find out, why are they not here? And it was clear from the onset that the minority MPs had not given any such indication officially to the police CID that they were not going to come. And so the police CID prosecutor was himself at a loss as to why they were not there, could not prefer any explanations as to why they were not there. He himself was at a loss.
What about the judge himself?
Yeah, the judge demeanor was quite of a surprise, but he was calm. He asked, why are they not here? Because the police CID could not give any such answers, he had to adjourn the case up until a day that they could reconcile all this. And so usually...
So there was not a fixed date for the next adjourn?
Yes, because usually the next adjourn dates, they will tell you maybe 21st, 22nd.
But not something like that.
But because we do not even have any indication if the minority will honor any such invitations, the judge actually adjourned, signed die, and urged the police
That is
indefinitely to be able to deal with this matter and bring this accused person to court.
Okay, thank you, Kweku. I want to go to Parliament because this is where all this played out today. And my colleague, parliamentary correspondent Joseph Gakpo, is with me on the telephone line. Joseph, the minority then called, of course, a press conference shortly after this had played out in court. We've had Aaron Idris explain why they were not there. Part of the things he said was that he had this on social media and that they will not respond to any social media invitation. Is that all we know?
Well, some of the accounts we get in from some of the MPs is that this is actually a document that was deposited in their cells in Parliament. You know, if you would want to communicate with a member of Parliament and get a letter to him, you get it gets delivered here in Parliament. They have what they call the pigeonhole. Every MP has his own. And then it gets deposited there. Any time that they would want to go get hold of those documents, then they go. So whether documents from their constituents or from Parliament itself gets deposited in their pigeonhole. Bits and pieces of the accounts we get in from some of the MPs is that these documents were delivered in their pigeonhole as far as they said someone in by the courts are concerned. But they indicate that as far as they know, that's not how the process should be. The leave of the Speaker has to be sought first. They quote Article 117 of the Constitution and say that there is a specific provision there that when an MP is going to Parliament or leaving the House, you can't execute a criminal process on him. And based on that, they think once Parliament was sitting today and the leave of the Speaker wasn't sought, then you had no business getting him to court today. The minority leader, Haina Idrisu, has been indicating that they'll use all legal means, as he says, to actually avoid any such process to intimidate him. And he's actually been insisting that for anyone to think they did something wrong, the person doesn't have their details right, because he says they notified the police of this particular action even before they marched onto the headquarters of the Electoral Commission.
And I'm challenging the Ghana Police Service that the Parliamentary Police Service was adequately informed by the whip. The Marshal's Office was adequately informed by the whip on behalf of the minority caucus to embark on a peaceful procession, not a demonstration. You can go back to the video. We walk gallantly and freely. They rather tried to cause riots.
So on what basis would any circumstance arise where yourself and your colleagues will submit yourself to any court process that the police may bring back?
We will fight it legally and we'll use the same judicial institutions to safeguard and protect our liberty and freedoms. We are guardians of it and we jealously
Well, the Member of Parliament for South Daya, Roxin Dafiamekbo himself, has been charged. Joyce is on the telephone line right now. Mr. Dafiamekbo, thank you for your time here on Top Story. Were you served?
Uh, Thank you very much. Good evening to your listeners. First of all, let the record reflect that I have not received any criminal summons from the Ghana Police Service in respect of the work we embarked on to EC a couple of weeks ago. And let the record also show that the Speaker of Parliament has not been served any process for onward service on any of us. And so, if your reporter claims that the matter was called today and we were not in court, it was not because we have no respect for the court. We respect the court. We are law-abiding citizens. But things must be done lawfully. The police themselves may be law enforcement agencies, but they are supposed to do so also within the confines of the law. If you have charged me for court, serve me with the criminal summons in accordance with Article 118. I will come and defend myself in the matter. And I'm sure my colleagues will defend themselves competently in the matter.
Nothing was left in your pigeonhole?
You don't serve me through my pigeonhole. That's not the procedure. They say serve the speaker, and the speaker will in turn serve me. That's the procedure. So I have no idea if somebody put something in my pigeonhole. A lot of MPs haven't come to Parliament. They are not here. So if you leave something in their pigeonhole, how would they come to their notice? But if you inform the speaker will take steps and notify the honorable member. And then the appropriate steps will be taken to appear in court in this matter. That's all we are saying.
So the cases that you're willing and you submit yourself for this process if you're properly served.
Exactly. It's not that we are willing. If we are, because the matter is the Republic versus us. So if the state is proceeding against you in court, who are you to say you won't go? Who will go? But we are only saying that the police should act professionally and then within the confines of the guidelines that laid down.
Do you accept the charge, though, that you breached the Public Order Act?
At all.
You don't?
At all.
Because the charge is that you did not notify the police. In fact, when we saw the videos and the police have put part of this in their case against you, that even when they provided the protection, you broke through the barriers, and that was a breach of the Public Order Act.
You see, let me offer some education. What is the meaning of notice? Is the Ghana Police Service saying that the divisional command that is housed within the Precinct of Parliament no longer is part of the Ghana Police Service? Is that what they are saying? So when we notify the divisional command of the Ghana Police Service located within the premises of Parliament, that doesn't constitute notice? Is that what the Ghana Police Service is saying? Second, now, how can they prove that we assembled unlawfully? There was no assemblage. What we did was to have walked on the streets of Accra, a distance of 800 meters. Now, if you put impediment on our way, we came back. So, what is this charge of unlawful assemblage? Our intention was not to go and assemble and do anything. We walked over a distance to deliver something. Then you block our path and said you will not permit us. Offer reasons, he said no, you will not grant us access. And then we came back. That was how
you did not break through the police barriers.
Which police barrier?
Because the police in their the facts as they put before court today also claims that you conducted yourselves in a manner likely to cause persons in a rich neighborhood reasonable fear.
My brother, I'm sure you had your reporter that covered the events that day. Well, as for the police, they always will canvass some facts to support the attack sheet. But as to whether or not those will be the truer facts in the matter, as we always know in court, it will come up during trial. We too will canvass our set of facts. And so what will be tested by the court will be the evidence that will be led.
I mean, as it is now, your leader says that the police has been used as an intimidation tool against you. But the police, honestly, is simply doing their jobs, are they not? I mean, if they believe that there's reasonable grounds to charge you, they are mandated to do so. I mean, do you agree with the assertion that the police was doing
Are
the job?
are you drawing the conclusion for the police? Because when my minority leader said that it appears the police are being used as a tool of intimidation, he gave reasons. He said the members of parliament that have been charged for court, including myself, are recognized members of the NDC. And the NDC, aside from the fact that the minority caucus notified the Ghana Police Command, the divisional command in parliament, the party also took steps to notify Ghana Police Service. So does not satisfy the law. Two, he again said other crimes have been committed, but we don't see the police taking proactive steps to prosecute those matters. But they are in a speed against themselves to prosecute 20 MPs who simply walk on the streets of Accra to deliver a 3-page petition. Are you also aware that the police have charged 2 of our members who were not nowhere near the work that we worked that day? The Honorable Dr. Zaneto Ajmai and the Honorable Isaac Adongo. Isaac was not even in Greater Accra that day. But somehow, the police are saying he should come to court on a charge of unlawful assembly. Is that not very interesting? The Honorable Dr. Ajmai was not part of us that day. But somehow, she's being criminally summoned to come and answer a charge of unlawful assembly. Is that not very interesting? So when he said that, it appears somebody sat somewhere and produced a list of MPs who are already on his list that he must target and charge for court and slap us with this sort of charge. I am tempted to agree with him.
I mean, stay with me. I mean, because this is not the only key thing. I mean, there's a lot happening in Parliament this whole week. I mean, this has been one of the key things. And I guess one of the key things to ask is, what does this do in terms of the atmosphere in the lead up to the big decisions that will have to be taken between now and December and January 7, with the swearing in of the new president and election of speaker, everything. I know the minority guys have been meeting in caucus today. Has this I guess made it even more difficult for consensus building?
The atmosphere here is very acrimonious, and it is to be expected, because if what you want to do as a government is to proceed to court on trump-up charges for activities that are clearly lawful, and you expect me to build consensus with you on matters in this chamber, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Well, there's another matter though that also come up today that is of course generating attention anytime it happens. Mr. Roxanne, stay with me briefly. Joseph Gakpo, we understand that the 5-member committee set up by the president to recommend emoluments and ex gratia of MPs, ministers, and other Article 71 office holders, they've laid their report in Parliament. What more do we know? Hello, Joseph. Joseph, can you hear me? Joseph. Okay. Let's try and get Joseph's attention on this other additional story that is unfolding in Parliament right now. That committee's work, we understand, has come to a close. Recommendations have been made on the emoluments, the salaries, etc., for the Article 71 office holders, the ex gratia for the members of Parliament. Of course, their 10 have come to an end. How much are they taking? It's always an issue that the public is interested in. We've been watching this pretty closely. I want to bring back Mr. Ross and the Femekbo back into this. Roxing, is this something that you parliamentarians have been briefed on already after it's been laid?
In fact, I have yet to even cite the report. What I've cited is that it's an item on our order paper, which is part of the business to be conducted today. We are on suspension now. We'll be on suspension for 1 hour. I'm sure for members to grab some lunch and then come back. So I'm certain that when we come back, leader of the house will conduct affairs and then we'll see whether it can feature today. But you see, this Article 71 office holder matter is not only in respect of MP, but it appears you guys are pushing an agenda about MP. It's about judges, it's about DC, it's about the president himself, it's about ministers of state. So you see, it's a whole gamut of public office holders. But we always appear to bear the brunt of this. And I'm surprised that you of all people are not looking at the various categories of public office holders who will be affected. Supreme Court judges, Court of Appeal judges, High Court judges.
Well, you're right, factually. I'm on board.
Yes.
Fortunately, I have an MP on the line, so
Okay.
I can only talk to the MP about what affects him. I guess I guess that's why I'm
Very
asking
well.
you. But stay with me. Joseph joins me now. Joseph, what more are we learning about this report? Joseph. Okay. We'll try and get because to get a few more details on this. But Rossing, are you expecting an increase in your pay?
Well, I am unable to speak to that unless the report makes that recommendation. Then it's a matter that the House will decide and take a decision.
Okay. But you must have an expectation. I mean, if I work, I'll have an expectation.
Of course, I agree with you. It's a legitimate expectation.
Yeah.
Because naturally, my salary as it is actually the conditions of service of the 6 parliament office holders. So that is how the system has come to operate. So clearly what it means is that having finished my term almost, my condition of service is now being discussed. When it ought to have been discussed a few days or hours before I took office on 7th January 2017.
So this will be what you're supposed to earn the last 4 years.
Exactly.
So we know what happened. You get back pay, covering the last 4 years anyway.
Same applies to judges. Same applies to ministers. Same applies to DCEs and the president himself and his appointees.
And all Article 71 office holders.
Precisely so.
Roxy, thank you very much. Legitimate expectation that his whole salary as a member of parliament will go up when we get to know the details. Joseph, you've seen the thing laid. What more are you learning about the details?
Well, the details are quite sketchy. We've been asking around to get copies of the report. After it's laid, it's obviously a public document, and everyone can have access to it. But funny enough, that hasn't been the case. But the indication we're getting is that any moment from now, when the House reconvenes, we would have a situation where they would go into a committee of a whole sitting where, behind closed doors, they'll go ahead and do the necessary scrutiny of the document, after which the report of the House generally as a committee will be laid again publicly and approved for us all to get to know what the details are. As far as the executive arm of government is concerned, because we know that when it comes to the MPs themselves, that's an approval that's given by the president. The indication we're getting is that those processes to approve that of the executive will be unfolding later this evening before close of day today, because tomorrow all that will happen will be the State of the Nation address, and then on Saturday the House will hold its final meeting and stand dissolved by midnight Wednesday.
Okay, so we expect that the Parliament, the Committee of the Whole, should look at the emoluments as recommended, approve it tonight before they rise.
Yes, so a two-strong
So
process.
they'll be approving that of the executive, and
They'll be approving that of the executive and other Article 71 office holders, except that of the members of parliament. And that of the members of parliament will eventually be approved by the president himself. But it's a two-pronged process that will begin, first of all, with the House sitting as a committee and looking at it before then a public process that will then see the approval. Funny enough, I've been asking around since the document was laid about 3 to 4 hours ago. Even MPs themselves have indicated that they've not seen copies of that document. And in fact, concerns have come up on the side of some of the MPs that a lot of these get put in last minute, get rushed, and then they sometimes don't know how got approved eventually, and it creates some confusion, which some of the MPs are not exactly happy about.
I see. Well, but very interesting long hours that set to unfold in Parliament. I've just heard Roxing say he's expecting an increase in the salary, by the way. And I'm pretty sure it's the same in Parliament. As many MPs will be telling you what the expectations are of this particular recommendation that they're about to consider. But Joseph, stay away. We'll come back to you for more on this as we begin to learn more about how much our members of Parliament, the executive, the judges, etc., will be paid. In the coming days, months, and years, and he's expecting the back pay, of course, covering the last 4 years, and so will apply to all other members on the Article 71 office holders. You want to stay with because on News 9 we have exclusive news for you about the speaker position. Some names have come up, some confirmations we are beginning to learn. Stay with us.
55, 78, 58, 70. Hey, Charlie, my network is really killing me. I have to pay my uncle's workers via mobile money, but the charges alone, it's about 380 cedis. Charges alone just to send money? That's 10 bags of cement already, my guy. Listen, bro, you can save money on charges if you move to Vodafone Cash now. Vodafone Cash? But my network is... Hey, sending money on that your network, you pay. Sending money on your network to other networks, you pay. But guess what? Sending money on Vodafone Cash is free. Sending money on Vodafone Cash to all other networks is also absolutely free. No charges at all on Vodafone Cash. So tell me, what are you still doing on that your network? Massa, look sharp, then move to Vodafone Cash. Hey, make a change the SIM right now. Yeah, sending money on Vodafone Cash to all other networks is now absolutely free. Send unlimited amounts of money as many times as you like for free. Just dial *110# now to send money.
The future is exciting. Ready?
Belacqua so cool, refreshing the family, empowering lives for a better day, quenching your thirst, preserving society. Belacqua for us, Belacqua mineral water. Keep drinking, Belacqua. Keep drinking, Belacqua for us. Belacqua mineral water. Keep drinking, Belacqua. Keep drinking, Belacqua for us. Belacqua mineral water.
Belacqua, providing clean, refreshing water and contributing to making our environment safer with our recycling plants and lighter plastic initiatives. Belacqua mineral water for the greater good. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Luciano le no fiano ye what are you looking for? Melcom got it all. Great discount, dodo. Yamafia so. Best bargains on our days. Everything here is a bargain. High quality, goods be a priority. So tell your mom, tell Poppy, tell your actually everybody.
What would you do with 50 gigabytes free data? Would you binge watch TV all day? Would you download